Eddie Hearn blasts the referee for the early stoppage between his fighter, Justis Huni, and Fabio Wardley. And let me counterpunch. I think that is exactly what Eddie Hearn should do. I think he should go farther if he's going to push it anywhere. He made the count. So if he made the count, I don't see the problem. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was strange how he gets dropped. Yeah, he did stay down a while. But here's the whole protocol with a referee, okay? If a fighter goes down and they appear like they're not getting up based on their body language, the referee can then wave the fight off. What didn't make sense to me was the fighter took his time to get up. He stayed down there for a while. The referee allowed the fighter to get up. Wait till him to get to the 9th count. When he got up, he waved the fight off. That made no sense. Because if you let a fighter go through all that, make his way back to his feet, wave the fight off after that, to me, what's the point? Because you allowed him to get up without even checking his vitals, without even checking his body language, without even seeing that he can walk or come to you. It makes no sense. Those are the things that Eddie Hearn should be concerned with as a promoter. Okay, because the way that fight was conducted, it was home cooking. Ipswich, England, that's where Fabio Wardley's from. That's what you expect. I explained this to you guys over and over again. That's how it goes, okay? You're going to get favoritism like that. As soon as Fabio Wardley had an out or an opportunity to win, that was the way he was going to win. Okay, they were going to make it that way. Hey, this is a good enough excuse for us to wave this fight off. He went down. He took his time getting up. He got up. We waved it off. You know? Yeah, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. But at the end of the day, that is the recipe of home cooking. You know what I mean? That's what happens in boxing. That's what you see a lot of times in certain situations. See, on the flip side to that, you can see why Wilder was so angry, because Wilder was thinking, why couldn't I get that same favoritism? Why couldn't I get that same favor? Why couldn't they just wave the fight off when Tyson Fury's eyes were straight up in the sky looking up? As afterwards, in hindsight, Tyson Fury admitted that he was knocked out. So a lot of people argue over that type of stuff, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? If the referee, to me, I think if it's something intentional that the referee did, there should be rules or grounds for investigation. The only problem is, how are you going to see into one's heart, into one's mind? How are you going to tell if that guy intentionally done that? You know what I mean? We can look at the motive. We can look at the reason for him doing that. You know, was there any paper trail? Was there something sent from one bank to another bank, or some anonymous envelope placed into his hands after the fight that somebody could see that could add for that type of, you know, inquiry? You don't see any of that. We haven't seen any of that. And it's crazy. In the world of everybody sees everything, nobody sees what these judges do. Nobody sees what these referees do without the fight. Nobody sees them at the bar. Nobody sees them at the gambling table. Nobody sees anything, and I think it's just absolutely weird. But that's why certain fights like that, you know, are in not like that, but certain fights are in Vegas, you know, just for that reason. But no, Eddie Hearn should blast the referee, and that is a thing that legitimately he has a claim for. It's just the question is, how far will he take it for his fighter, Justis Huni, for the justice that he may deserve? But you guys tell me what you think about Eddie Hearn blasting that referee for the way he conducted that fight after the knockdown. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!